The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible in 1953 when the post-World War II political climate in the United States was very tense, with spreading fear of communism. Miller's The Crucible made connections between the fear and hysteria at the time to the hysteria surrounding the Salem witch trials of the 1960s. There is a significance in the title as it relates to the plot of the story. A crucible, literally speaking, is a jar or a vessel that can withstand high temperatures. It's used in labs for things like purifying metals. It's also a trying or difficult experience. Both of these can be tied to the significance of the crucible, where townspeople go through a very trying time of the witch trials and the hysteria related to witchcraft, where the characters are also on trial to be purified of their imperfections. In the story, we see lots of examples of hysteria. For example, Abigail starts the accusation of girls being witches and practicing witchcraft, initiating the hysteria and fear in town. Religious figures like Reverend Hale then force the court to look into all of the people accused, which just adds to the hysteria because the religion guided the town. Innocent people in town, including Tabuda, confess to witchcraft because they think that they will be saved by doing so, and it will keep them from being executed. Not because there was any evidence of it, but simply because they thought that it was the only way that they would be saved. During the trials, another example of hysteria is that girls in the audience would act erratically and they would mock the people on trial. This only intensified the hysteria and made people believe that their behavior was a result of witchcraft of those being accused and that were on trial. There were also many social issues present in the story. Image and reputation was one. Many characters in the story lied throughout the story to protect their own image, conforming to society's expectations. There was also the issue of gender inequality. In a time where religion drove the government essentially, and the religion and the church dominated, women were expected to be obedient and follow orders. In society, they had no authority, and it was very male-driven. The church dominated everything. We also see an abuse of power and corruption. The town is so controlled by religion, and the religious figures in the story use their positions in the church to control the townspeople and the court system. So essentially, the church controlled the government and everyone's actions and beliefs. We see many effects of the repressive society in the story. Selfishness and the desire to uphold a good reputation override the importance of telling the truth or getting justice. Also, there was so much hysteria that hysteria led to fear and persecution. No one knew what to believe or who to believe, which just perpetuates the fear. There were no facts or no evidence that witchcraft was actually happening. They just believed what was being told to them. The religious society at the time prevented people from speaking freely or being independent. Therefore, the society was repressed. All of these things are tied to critical concepts that we've talked about in class. Prejudice against the lower class citizens in Salem essentially still happens today. They were made to be targets while the wealthier just worried about their reputation. Another example, while many events lacked facts or evidence, the townspeople assumed that witchcraft was real because the church's belief drove them to accept it as true, meaning their belief in witchcraft was socially constructed.